Before Live Aid, before Farm Aid, before the Prince's Trust and Comic Relief, there was the Secret Policeman's Ball. Hey guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. So I want to talk about something I find pretty interesting here. This series of shows that were called the Secret Policeman's Ball, or I guess my interest is what we're really referred to as Secret Policeman's Other Ball, and I want to talk about the music side of it. And these were really pioneering shows in the whole connection between rock music and charity and activism and causes and all that. It's not the first ones. You can look at George Harrison's concert for Bangladesh and a couple other things that came before. But th- th- these shows had a pretty huge impact. So I kind of want to talk about it. So give me a little bit of background. What I really want to focus on is the records of music that were released, and there were 3 records released from these shows. Now, so the Secret Policeman's Ball shows were really started sometime in the mid 1970s, I believe, and that they were benefit shows for Amnesty International, to raise money and awareness for their causes. And from what I can tell from my extensive research, it took me minutes, that, that these shows, starting in the mid 70s and not every year, but kind of been off and on, into the 20 teens, right? So not too long ago. But they originated with 3 guys, kind of put this together. Monty Python's John Cleese, who wanted to, again, do something to raise awareness, raise money, for this organization, Amnesty International. Music executive Martin Lewis, and the connection, the guy from Amnesty's side, this guy named Peter Luff. So those 3 guys organized, the first one, and started putting this thing together. And the first few shows, from what I understand, was just kind of stand-up comedy, stand-up comics who would come do these benefit shows or whatever. But eventually, they started to expand to including some musical artists, and again, that's kind of where my interest lies. And so, from what I understand, a lot of these shows were released, like on video, or they were broadcast on television. I've never seen a whole show. You can go on YouTube. I've gone on YouTube and found individual. Actually, a lot of these performances I'm going to talk about, you can find that they're all over YouTube. You can find them pretty easily. But I've never actually watched, like the whole show of any of them. But very influential in spurring future activism, and benefit shows and charity shows and all that kind of thing. There are a lot of artists that are very associated with that kind of work. Who, again, in my research, I saw quotes from all these guys saying, "Yeah, it was a secret policeman's ball. It was either participating in it or watching it, that got me into into being active in some of these causes." People like Bob Geldof, Sting, Peter Gabriel, Bono. Um, well, Geldof, Sting, and Peter Gabriel are involved in some of these records. Bono was a little bit younger than those guys, but I saw a great quote from him saying, "I didn't know what Amnesty International was until I saw the Secret Policeman's Ball on TV or whatever." So, very influential, these shows. So, I kind of want to focus on the music and the albums, because it kind of hit me pretty hard. At least two of the 3 I think are really great. And the third one's good too, but two of them I think are really, really special. And I'll kind of explain why they're kind of special to me. But so the first one that was released. Oh, and by the way, well, actually, I'll tell you about this later. 1979. So the 1979 show. So they released 3, far as I can tell, and I have the 3 of them. They released 3 just music albums, just focusing the music and not any of the comedy. Uh, and I have all three of them. Now they're pretty easy to find actually. I found all three of these like in kind of cheap discount used bins at local record stores around here, and I continue to see them fairly regularly when I'm flipping through. So I mean they're pretty easy to find. So I really recommend picking them up. The first one was from the 1979 show, the first one released, and here it is. So you can see it says The Secret Policeman's Ball, the music, because it's not the comedy portion, specially priced. I don't know what that means. But Amnesty International proudly presents the music. So this one's, like I said, this one is I, I really like the other two a bit more than this one, but this was worthwhile. So I think the biggest name on here is Pete Townsend. And, another thing, a lot of these records or the music on these records are kind of more stripped down, like acoustic. I don't want to say not completely solo acoustic in a lot of cases, but sort of stripped down more acoustic renditions. Not all of them, and I'll point out as we go through. Some of them are just kind of full band, songs. But a lot of this music, especially on this one, this is all kind of acoustic focused on this particular one. So Pete Townsend comes out and he opens with Pinball Wizard and then goes into Drowned, which if you ever listen to a lot of the Who's live material or Pete Townsend's live material, those are two kind of standbys that he does solo acoustic a lot, and they really lend themselves to that arrangement, that format, and they don't disappoint here. I mean, Pete Townsend's got one of the fastest, most amazing right hands, in guitar. His strumming hand, just speed, and then that's on full display here. It's just awesome. Then you've got Tom Robinson, who I'm going to admit I'm not familiar with, but he does two songs here, 1967, and then Glad to Be Gay. And then on the second half, this guy Neil Innes, am I saying that right? What's his name? Does a tune, and then John Williams comes out and does two. Now this is not the John Williams. When you say John Williams, my first thought is the composer of Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. All of the film composer. No, this is not that John Williams. This guy's a classical guitar player, and so he does a couple of classical pieces, which are real nice. One of them is a Bach piece, it's really nice. And then the final track on there is very interesting, about 6 minute, again, kind of acoustic version of "Won't Get Fooled Again" with Pete Townsend and John Williams doing it together. It's pretty, it's more subdued than your usual versions of that song. It's pretty. I mean, this is good. Yeah, I recommend picking it up, especially if you see it pretty cheap in the bins, which I usually do. But it's these other two that, to me, are really really special. So the next one that was released was from the 1981 show, and that would be this one. And so this is the Secret Police. It says a Secret Policeman's Other Ball. I believe the music portion they referred to as the Secret Policeman's Other Ball to differentiate it from the stand up comedy portion. And it even says the music on here. But yeah, look at this lineup: Sting, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Bob Geldof, Johnny Fingers, Phil Collins, Donovan, and it says the Secret Police, which is the inevitable all-star jam at the end. All right, so um, just awesome, awesome, awesome. Like I said, this one I was super excited when I found this because this is super special. Because so it opens with Sting. Sting comes out and does two songs, just solo. So it's just him and a guitar. He doesn't have a band with him. It's not an acoustic guitar; it's electric guitar, but it's it's not distorted or anything. So it's got a nice warm tone to it. But it's just Sting doing these kind of solo guitar and vocal renditions of Roxanne and Message in a Bottle. Now it's Message in a Bottle that's really special to me because so I saw Sting on his Nothing Like the Sun tour. Drawing a blank on that year, like 1988, something like that. And I remember that show well because I went with my sister. I was in middle school. My sister brought me and my first girlfriend. God bless my sister, right? and so like my middle school girlfriend, and so I remember that show well for reasons other than the music, right? But I remember it was either in the encore or at the very end of his regular set. But Sting came out alone without the band and did a couple of these, just him and a guitar singing, and it was probably those two songs. But I know "Message in a Bottle" was one of them, and that's just one of my great concert memories. I just the arrangement, something about it is just really sticks with me. It's beautiful. He slows the tempo, he slows it down a little bit, maybe so he could play the riff, so he doesn't have Andy Summers there with him. But he slows the tempo down, and it's just this beautiful rendition of this song, of "Message in a Bottle," the Police song. And so when I saw this and finally picked it up and I saw that there, I was ecstatic. I was like, yeah, I can finally have a version of that. And what's cool, you know how sometimes you have your memories, then you hear it, it doesn't live. But no, this is beautiful on here. It's like, oh yeah, it totally lives up to my memory of that song. So that's cool. Then you've got Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton come out and do a little set together. There's "'Cause We Ended as Lovers," one of Jeff Beck's great songs. I think Clapton's just strumming some rhythm on it. So that one features mainly Beck, and it's stunning. It's awesome, as always. And then "Farther Up the Road" and "Crossroads" kind of feature Clapton and Beck, trading solos and all that. That's just awesome. And then Clapton sings those songs too. "I Don't Like Mondays" from Bob Geldof and Johnny Fingers. I'm not a big Geldof fan musically, but whatever. And then you got Phil Collins coming out and doing "In the Air Tonight" and then "The Roof Is Leaking," both from his debut. And they're kind of piano. He's on the piano, and so it's really interesting to hear this sort of piano version of "In the Air Tonight," without that iconic drum fill, right? But he's got some other musicians kind of playing some like acoustic guitar, playing some stuff in the background. But it's a pretty stark renditions. Donovan comes out and does "Universal Soldier," "Catch the Wind," and then the inevitable all-star jam on "I Shall Be Released," which is one of the inevitable all-star songs if they're going to do that all-star jam. It's like that one. How many of these all-star shows do they like end with that? I think Sting takes the lead vocal on that one. So there you go. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And again, if you can find this in the used bin cheap, this I still have the price tag on here, $4.99. And I bought this for $5. It's in great shape. So it's awesome. I think I bought all of these were similar. Like all of them were like $5, when I found them. And then skip ahead a little bit. The 1987 show was released on vinyl, and here it is. And if you take a look at this lineup, you got Kate Bush, Duran Duran, Lou Reed, Peter Gabriel, Mark Knopfler, Erasure, Jackson Brown, Bob Geldof, Nick Kershaw, David Gilmour, Chet Atkins, and Joan Armatrading. So that is a hell of a lineup, right? And again, pretty special record to me. This one's pretty special to me because there are two artists, two performances on here. That it's because of their performances on here that I decided, yeah, I really need to explore that artist more. And I've kind of gone down pretty deep rabbit holes with both of them by now and bought a lot of their material, really gotten into them. And both of them are the female artists on here. Basically, Kate Bush and Joan Armatrading. It was because of their tracks on here that I got into them. So really worthwhile. Kate Bush opens this with "Running Up That Hill," right? Which, of course, exploded again, recently because of its inclusion in Stranger Days or Stranger Things. Sorry, Stranger Things. Um, but I heard it earlier than that on here, so I was already very familiar with it when it blew up again. What's cool about that is on here she does the song with David Gilmour. So David Gilmour is backing her up. So that I think on the studio version, I think it's done on that synthesizer, a riff or line. On here, it's Gilmour doing it on guitar instead, and that it's just cool. It's awesome, and that's a video. You can find that video on YouTube, I believe, or at least I don't know if it's from this show, but you can find a video of her and Gilmour doing that with this arrangement. It's pretty awesome. Duran Duran does a beautiful acoustic version of "Save a Prayer." It's a highlight on here. It's great. Lou Reed does this tune called Voices of Freedom. Bob Geldof does a tune. Jackson Browne does For Every Man, which is nice. Eurasia comes out and does a really cool, a stripped down version of Victim of Love. It's cool. Nick Kershaw is on it. Martin Knopfler and Chet Atkins. Here they are. Do a nice sort of a instrumental acoustic guitar rendition of Imagine, the John Lennon tune, right? Joan Armatrading, which is the other artist, that her song on here inspired me to finally go out and start buying her records, and I love them. She does I Love It When You Call Me Names on here. And, she was a name, that I had heard sort of spoken in, reverential tones forever, but I just never got it, never tried it, never listened to her. But it was finally her track on here. It's like, yeah, okay, I gotta go grab some of her stuff. And I love a lot of her albums now. And then Peter Gabriel closes the record with Biko, appropriately so, right? But yeah, special record as well. I mean, I would pick these back up again. I mean, this one is cool. I mean, grab it if you see it. But I think these two especially are really, really special. And with a lot of them, they're different renditions of songs you're familiar with. And I mean, these two, that first one, I don't know, I don't listen to it all the way through very much. These two I could put on start to finish, and they're just great start to finish. So check them out if you see them in the used bins or whatever. I mean, they're not hard to find. At least I still see them around all the time. Although this is for some reason, uh, these two I still see a lot, fairly regularly, in the used bins. This one here is a little. I don't see it nearly as much, but obviously I did at some point because I picked it up. So check them out; they're great. Well, all right, what do you guys think? Are you guys familiar with these records? Are you guys watch the actual, the videos and the shows, or let's talk Secret Policeman's Ball if you have any thoughts on that. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications, like the videos, share the videos. Doing all of that really helps us do what we want to do here. And so we'll see you next time on Amity Tracks.